It's episode 19 of Chit Chat, and we just played a whole new set of games at the CMON Expo, while we finally had the chance to play through some titles in our own MVM library. Oh, and let's also predict the winners for the Spiel Des Jahres.
Welcome back to Chit Chat. This is episode 19. That's one less than 20 for those of you not good at math.
And 3 away from your lucky number?
3 away from my lucky number. Always remember my lucky number is 17. Tonight on Chit Chat, we're going to talk about a couple things. 2 different things, in fact. We're going to start and talk about CMON Expo. Jeremy and I just went down there, had a chance to see some of their new stuff. These guys didn't, but they're going to ask us questions, and hopefully you'll learn something along the way.
You can't contribute.
The life of an unpaid intern.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the games we've played, and then we're going to finish off talking a little bit about the Spiel nominees, and maybe share what some of our picks are for the winners.
Yeah,
I think I know what the winners are. But anyway, we got Ryan, we got Gary, myself, and Jeremy. And before we kick things off, we've got a winner from last week.
Yeah, so we have Brandon Treat. You won a copy of Thanos. Make sure you make a comment below in the comments or email manversusmeeple@gmail.com. Give us your address. We'll send it off to you. And also, we're going to be giving away, it's timely, CMON Expo,
Yes.
Dojo Schoon, which is a CMON game. Again, just make comments below. We will pick a random winner.
Yeah, Dojo Schoon is a worker placement game. We had a chance to play that before it came out last year
Last
in
year, it's
CMON
been a while,
Expo.
yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, make a comment below to see if you
full
can win a
circle.
copy. So let's start off talking about CMON Expo. Ryan, how
What do you
was your
think?
Let's
experience?
talk about CMON Expo, and I mean, there's only really one thing that I care about when it comes to CMON Expo.
What's your question?
That's Eric Lang announced a new game there.
He did.
He announced at least a new game there. You had a chance to see the miniatures of that one.
Yeah, Death May Die.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're
So
talking
that's,
about?
that's a joint effort from Eric and Rob Davio. Rob Davio, of course, from, well, best well known for Pandemic
Yeah.
Legacy. So yeah, this is a cooperative, one versus the game. So it's not a one versus many.
Group versus the game.
It's kind of a campaign game, but it's Cthulhu based, which is really cool.
Does it
And the
have
game,
legacy elements?
it doesn't really have legacy elements. It's campaign, and you'll know the rules at the beginning of the game. But as you get further in the campaign, it's one of those games that introduces new sets of rules,
okay.
new requirements, and new dynamics to the game the further you get into the campaign.
Yeah, the way when we got a chance to talk with Eric before the show, and he was describing the parts of the campaign as episodes, the way they were calling them.
Almost like TV episodes.
And the whole thing was
Yeah.
being presented in a very cool retro TV sort of vibe, but with Cthulhu and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
His pitch on it, his elevator pitch that he actually told us that he'd given to Rob at one point or another, was something about, I want to make a game where you shoot Cthulhu in the face. And Rob went, okay. So I think this sounds like a hilarious game. And the miniatures, of course, are total CMON. I got to tell you, we'll get into this more, but we had a chance to really get to know Eric quite a bit better than we did before the show. We spent a lot of time with him. Hilarious guy.
Dude is so funny.
He's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
So funny and just a blast to hang out with.
The cool thing, too, about him is that he's super approachable. Like, we had a gaming and guest session where him and I both sat down at tables, and we'd have people sign up to play games with us. And all the different media people did this. But also, he did that as well. And I don't know how many times we saw people walk up to Eric in the middle of stuff he was doing, and he would stop what he was doing, talk to the person, autograph something for them. I mean, he's just super, super approachable.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Totally normal, nice guy. And, of course, super humble about the fact that he's Eric Lang. You know?
Right.
He's like probably one of
We remind him a
biggest
lot that
names.
his name is Eric Lang. It's pretty funny. So, I mean, there's a lot of games that were introduced there. There was Death May Die. There's Gizmos, which is
Gizmos
by
we played.
Phil Walker Harding, the guy who did Barren Park.
Oh, great.
It's
Totally
a
different game.
Engine builder, really cool. Like, people may think it has some elements of Potion Explosion because you see those marbles coming out, but it has nothing to do with that, really. It's a total engine builder. It can be played by a wide variety of people. It's very cool. What else did we see? We saw Kick-Ass, the game.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to play Kick-Ass, but it looked really cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. The manual was really cool too. The rule book.
Oh yeah,
It was
broke
kind
the
of
fourth
like
wall.
yeah, it totally broke the fourth wall. It was meta. It was like him reading his own rule book
Yeah,
to learn how to play the game.
Like the comic
all
book.
done in
Yeah.
comic book
Yeah, the
style.
rule book looked like
Yeah.
a comic book,
Yeah.
and it was Kick-Ass reading the rule book for the board game Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
It was
he's
kinda
pulling it
cool.
off the shelf, learning it. But it's really cool because it's a co-op game as well. But you are battling a boss as a group, but you're also trying to maintain your teenage life. So you're like dating, going to school. So you're trying
That's
to
interesting.
maintain your happiness while also maintaining your ability to kick ass.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like a Persona game.
And then we also played, and we're going to be blurring the lines between what we've been playing lately and the CMON experience, because that's what Jeremy and I mostly been playing, Narcos, which I know you want to. We both loved it, but Jeremy absolutely loved it.
So it's a Netflix series. It's based off the Colombian drug trade of cocaine that really started coming in the 70s and 80s. I was unfamiliar. Well, I was familiar with the Netflix show, but I had not watched it. So I was unfamiliar with the actual characters when I sat down to play it. Total hidden movement game. So if you played Whitechapel, Scotland Yard, Fury of Dracula, any of those style games, you're going to be ultimately familiar with the game. But what it does so well, in those other games that I mentioned, as the protagonist, you're typically moving across the board, writing down numbers to new spaces, and the character is always trying to follow you around to find you. In this game, as Pablo, you set off a base at the beginning of the round, and you're there for the entire round. And there's this really cool network that you're constantly building around him to find out where he is. And the Sicarios, or the hitman that he uses, give away information on where he is by saying he's so many spaces away. So you start to make this net around him. It's fascinating.
It's really cool because
it's very thematic.
Super thematic.
Oh, it's super thematic. And I've seen most of the first season. It's very thematic. And the cool thing is, and I haven't played a ton of hidden movement games. I've played just a couple times. But one of the things I felt was different, because you're in one position as the one versus many, you are given a lot more things to try to achieve to win.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just about don't get caught.
Yeah.
Right.
Objectives.
That one player had all sorts of objectives, and as the game progressed, you got even more objectives, and all he had to do was achieve like 2 of them or something like that.
2 out of 3, yeah.
So at any given time, he could do a number of different things to win as well. It wasn't just keep away.
Right.
So, and it made it very satisfying too on the player's parts that was looking for him, because you really felt good progression towards narrowing it down.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't locate him specifically, you felt like, okay, it's one of we've got it down, he's one of these 3 spots, and then you get down to a point where maybe you're taking a chance and like, okay, we're going to use our action to go here. And we had limited actions that we're all sharing. So you could only do certain things so many times. It was
That's cool.
really, really good game.
Well, that's good to hear.
Variable
because,
player powers.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It's a lot of hidden movement games. At their core, they all start to kind of feel this. Well, they kind of are the same. It's like, it sounds like this is adding a little bit of a twist to it. Whether you're like Dracula or Scotland Yard or Hunt for the Ring. Okay, it's just what theme do you like? But this sounds like it totally gives a little something different.
One of the other cool things is you can actually catch Pablo in the game. You have to catch him twice in
Oh,
order
to win.
to win.
Yeah, you have to catch him twice to win. So you could catch him once, but then he just relocates and
Well,
the
that's
game
thematic.
keeps going.
But once he relocates,
Yeah.
he uses his money to go an X number of spots away from where he was. So you have an idea on how far he
That's
could have moved
That
away.
is so
Parts
smart
moving
because he
together.
went to jail and the jail became his headquarters.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he did everything from the jail.
That's exactly what they're trying to capture. And the cool thing, he
That's
mentioned
cool.
he mentioned using the money then to relocate. He's collecting money from doing different things on his. So he puts these Sicarios out. He's able to put out facilities that create cocaine. If he can get his Sicarios to gather that up and get them to the airport, it makes him more money. So that in the event that he gets caught, he's able to use that money to
Get further
away.
Oh, wow.
That's really
It's
interesting.
very, very interesting. I have to say,
cannot wait to play this one.
I've always loved the concept of a hidden movement game, and this one, it was also blindingly fast.
It was very fast.
Compared to those
Really?
games. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Fury can take a while.
Yeah, Fury can take a long time.
I would bet that this won't take longer than an hour and a half.
Yeah, I would agree
Like,
with that.
will not take
that's
longer than
crazy
an hour
for a
and a
hidden
half.
movement
So
game.
you're between an hour and an hour and a half.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
It could go pretty quickly. We did pretty well.
We did. We had a really good team. We were playing with Tantrum House.
Okay, yeah.
So
They
Melissa
know
and
games.
Kevin were playing with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, they were about to leave, and we were like, "Hey, we're gonna
Just
demo
stay for
this
a little bit. Yeah, this was designed by Phil Barrows. So if you're watching this, Phil,
Yeah.
fantastic job. You really did a
This is
real
probably,
good job
I didn't
with
know
this.
about it before CMON, but if I had known about this when I did my most anticipated list, this would have been
Neither
on
did
there.
I.
Oh, yeah,
and
we-
even playing it now, I've started watching the show, and it's made me super interested in watching it.
Was this going to Kickstarter or straight
I think
to
it's
retail?
directly
No, I
to
think this
retail
is
at Gen
direct to
Con, I
retail.
think.
Oh, it's coming out of Gen Con.
I
pretty
believe
sure.
it's a
Wow,
Gen
that's
Con.
gonna be
It's
a
one of their
big
big
hit.
Gen Con
Yeah.
releases.
Yeah.
I think that and Gizmos, I want to say,
Gizmos should be Gen
things
Con.
can change, but I think Gizmos and Narcos are their big Gen Con releases, which are really.
I think it's.
Well,
Gonna
would
be
you
a big
say with
year.
what you saw, you think these would be the two CMON games this year are probably going to kill it for them?
I think Dragon Castle will do really well for them.
Oh,
too.
Dragon
Just because
Castle
it's
will do
super
really well.
approachable. It's got that mahjong twist
Yeah.
to it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
It can
yeah.
be played super fast. I mean, it does have a bit of a setup, just like any mahjong game that you play. But it's enough of a twist to pull in those people that aren't typical gamers.
There's
so.
a lot of those gamers out there.
Well, plus, even though it's nothing like Azul gameplay-wise, I think a lot of people will see Dragon Castle and get it'll push that Azul button just because it has the big chunky tiles and everything. So I think it will be something that people take a look at for sure.
I think another big one is Victorian Masterminds, which wasn't
Oh
at
yeah,
the show.
they didn't have
unfortunately.
it there, but everyone was talking about
disappointing.
wanting to have seen it.
Yeah, that'll be at Essen.
That was my number one
Yeah.
anticipated. So yeah. I hope
Yeah,
it's
I
good.
want that one too. They also
You can't talk about that.
what? Well, no, I
I'm
wasn't.
sure-
I wasn't going to
That's
talk
the cool
about
thing
that.
about
Can't
CMON
talk about that.
Expos.
I wasn't going
You
to talk
come away
about
with
that,
all
but we
the-
did
all
get a
that
good
cool
a
stuff.
good description of some things in the future that are going to be super exciting for sure.
Redacted.
Yeah, but in 2 years, when you find out, we'll be able to say that was the one. Go back to
Yeah,
the
we'll
Chit
tell
What are
you.
you talking about?
We'll tell you
Yeah.
whenever
Quiet.
it happens.
All right. You want to do games we played? Or you want to talk about the Spiel?
Let's talk about games we played,
All
and
right.
then we'll finish off with our Spiel predictions.
All right.
So what have you been playing? Well, let's let you guys talk for a little
Oh
while.
wow, spotlight. Been playing. I've been catching up on some games that I hadn't gotten to play. We played a bunch of the Forbidden City, which I guess is no longer called Forbidden City.
Yeah, can you pronounce
No,
what it's
I'm not
called?
even gonna
Gugong?
try.
Gugong?
Gugong.
Gugong?
Gugong, is that right?
Maybe.
I mean, I love that game so much. And just today, I played Carthago,
Yeah.
from which
Yeah.
you taught that to me. Really interesting game. A lot
It's got a lot of moving,
of thinking going on. a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts and mechanical pieces. The thing I was fascinated by when I read those rules, I was like, oh man, there's a lot of cool things going on. And there's a lot of cool things going on in that game. The scoring is so simple that you have to realize that all those things that are going on feed into one main way to score your points, or a couple main ways, because there's one big math problem of take your ships times your seats, and that's your score for the most part, except for some of the achievement board. But everything you're doing feeds into that. You just can't ignore getting a bunch of ships.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, Forbidden City, I think I've played 3 games now. Love it. It's
Wow.
Solid.
Cool.
Solid game.
I got my Gun Cleaver from
Oh.
Germany. So that finally came in. And I went over to some friends' house. They wanted to try something new, but not too totally complex. But so I taught them Stockpile
oh yeah.
with a continuing corruption.
That's funny. I saw that played in the last week too.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At CMON
Yeah,
Expo.
I hadn't
So-
played in about a year, and it's like, this game. I mean, I got smoked. I always get smoked when I teach games.
Yeah, I think you got smoked when you taught me that one.
Yeah,
too.
probably did. But that's such a fun game. That continuing corruption expansion's really, really good with that. The dice add so much better variability
Yeah.
in each round with how the stock is going to go. It's also going to allow a lot more money to be flowing as well too. So.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was this close to sitting down and playing that because I think it was the first night we were there. Some guy just set that up and was playing it with a few people looking for players. I kind of watched him for a
Yeah.
little while, and as I was watching, I was like, remembering how good a game that is.
It's a really
Yeah.
good game.
Super overlooked game.
And they caught on real quick. So that's just one of those really good, kind of a gateway-ish type game.
So did you play any more guns?
Oh yeah,
Flavor?
that game is. Well, we'll talk about it here in just a moment.
I know.
I mean, it's interesting. It's up for the Kinderspiel.
Yes, it is up for the
That's a
Kennerspiel.
more complex game, but no, it's so good. Well, look, the roll and write's the new thing, and I've totally been sucked into the roll and write world right now. So
That seems to be the
It's
shining
fun.
star right now.
Yeah.
That particular one.
There's a lot
It's
of good ones
good.
coming out too.
Oh yeah.
We have
a
not
lot.
hit the end of the roll and rights.
So we played a lot that we already talked about at CMON Expo. There's one game we played at CMON Expo that I don't think gets enough attention these days, but everyone
Uh-oh.
has probably played it. Time's Up.
Yeah, Tom's
Oh, you played it?
great.
We played that game
2 nights in a row.
2 nights in a
For
row.
like 3-4 hours. a
I
night.
played we were both up one night. The second night he went to bed because he had to get up for an early flight. But I dread to tell you how late we were up. Like almost 3 in the morning playing Time's Up. And in the end it was like Jared from CMON and Eric. Eric was there every time. That game, if you haven't played Time's Up and you at all have ever been interested in playing any party game, you have to play Time's Up. It
It's
is
great.
it's
one of the best games.
it's why it's
made.
in my top 10 of all time. I never tire playing
It's gotta
Time's
be up
Up.
there for me
It's
now.
so
It's so fun.
It is, and
You will
it's-
laugh more than any other party
you lose
game.
time. You play that game for hours and hours, and
And you get those. I love playing with 2 teams.
That's how
where
we
it's a
played.
team of
Yeah.
3 or 4 or 5, and just play 2 on 2 or 1 or 2 on 2.
That's the best. I think
It's the best way to do that.
It provides
Yeah.
more of an entertainment
Yes.
situation when there's 2 teams because
Yeah.
if there's more, you kind of lose focus and lose attention for
Yeah.
what's going on and the fun involved. When one team's going, the other team can watch. It's fun. that
Yeah.
way.
Me?
Yeah.
Netatonka?
Oh,
yeah,
It's
we
gonna
did
be
play
on,
Netatonka, didn't we?
Kickstarter. It's from the guy who did Shakespeare. It's a fantastic little worker placement game. It's got some unique twists. The way that you can move your workers around and activate links between each other.
Yeah, check. We're gonna have a review of it very, very soon, or a preview for
Yeah.
the Kickstarter very
Should be out
soon.
next
So
week.
check it out. It is a really interesting game.
We played Pioneer Days today.
Oh, you
from
did?
TMG.
yeah, I was imagining you were going to bring that up.
It's,
yeah,
How was it?
It was good.
it was good. There's a lot going on. I think maybe it suffers from having too many components.
So what kind of what would you
But-
classify it as? What kind of game is it?
It's a dice
It's a dice
drafting
drafting
game.
Oh,
game.
it is.
It is. It's a dice drafting game at its core, but even the dice, it's
It
interesting.
feels to me. It feels like Oregon Trail. It really
is a
does.
lot
it feels
like
like
Oregon
Oregon Trail thematically.
Did either of you
Die
die
of
from
dysentery.
dysentery?
Yeah, and you
We did.
are constantly and you're constantly punished by these events.
I think I lost 6 of my villagers
Did you eat
over the
'em?
course of the game because they died to diseases and
Well, there's
stuff.
4 events that trigger almost all the time that are awful. So think Bruges, all those bad things.
Oh.
Except they're all the time. It's people are dying, your townsfolk,
Your
and
cattle are dying, your wagons are
your
breaking
money's
down,
going
your
away.
money's
So
getting
it's you're
stolen.
battling against the game.
Yeah.
constantly.
I could feel. I like that concept, but a lot of new players or people who are more casual gamers, I think, might be have a hard time feeling the struggle, enjoying that struggle.
It is kind of player controlled. It's not random.
Uh-huh.
Every die you don't draft goes to a pool that pushes
I see.
towards those events.
Oh,
so
interesting.
You see them coming, but yeah, they're pretty.
I remember it
it's
looking
pretty
good. It was good
punishing.
components and everything.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Cool.
And then I played at CMON. I played Lorenzo, which I love.
Yeah.
But I played
How
a
long did that game go?
5-player with
5-player.
3 new players.
Oh
With
yeah.
all the components from the expansion and the base game. So it was like a 30-minute teach and then a 2-hour and 30-minute game.
Wow.
So your favorite experience?
He was.
I love that game, but
Right.
it's just a long
Just
play
never
for
at
5
5.
players.
Yeah. By the way, have you played with the expansion
Expansion's
yet?
awesome.
No, I
yeah.
haven't.
Expansion's awesome.
I heard
It
it
is
makes
good.
it so much better.
It's
It
really
is
good.
awesome. We liked the
Yeah.
game before. It is so good. The
need to get
variable
my hands
powers
on
with
that.
that expansion and the simple mechanic of how you're getting you're drafting these player powers.
Yeah.
These families. In doing so, there's a board that has all these starting resources underneath the family. So if I bid first, I put my token on the top or bottom most set of resources, which is a ton of resources. So I'm like, I'll take that family, and I'll take these as my starting resources. Then if he wants that family, he can go one rung up,
Start with less resources.
resources.
And outbid him for the tile.
So you're bidding what your starting resources
Yeah.
are
That is
going to
really
be.
in your player
cool.
power
Wow.
for the game.
So if
yeah.
you really want this player power, you could say all the way to the top, but you're only getting a rock and $1. So
Yeah.
you're setting yourself back, but you're getting exactly what
That's
you want.
pretty unique.
That is
I've
really
never
cool.
seen anything
That's
like
cool.
that.
Say, I don't.
Bidding with your starting resources
Yeah.
before
Huh.
you have them was fantastic.
There's a lot of cool
Interesting.
things
So-
in that
yeah.
expansion. So
Yeah, totally forgot about that.
Spiel. Let's just
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Just talk
there's
about
some
it for a
interesting
second.
news that you had about the Spiel, which I
Yeah,
didn't know about,
well-
which I think we should mention briefly, and then also talk about our predictions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you read
Sure.
some stuff about.
Yeah, I was reading some
how
stuff
they
on
do
the
it.
Spiel on BGG. So so
Well, maybe we should just talk about what the Spiel is first.
well, the Spiel des Jahres is the German game of the year, right? And it's typically known as
The Academy Awards for-
the Academy Award.
It's
Like
the
this is the game of the
Yeah.
year. You
Yeah.
know, if your game gets a Spiel des Jahres, that's awesome.
It's the
Yeah.
crowning
It's
achievement.
a crowning achievement, exactly. I know this year for the Spiel, it was Azul by Kiesling, Luxor by Rudiger Dorn, which I believe is on Kickstarter right now,
The expansion, I think, right?
and the game.
and the game, yeah, and the Mind,
Yeah.
which isn't in the U.S. yet
Right.
either, but of course you can see it. You can actually order from Europe, and then you have the Kinderspiel, which is kind of the more complex games, which is Ganschan Cleaver, which is interesting. Heaven and Ale, and I'll try to say this, De Quacksalber von Quedlinburg.
Oh, that sounded pretty good.
So 3. Well, thank you. I've been working on my German.
Very good. Very good.
From Wolfgang Warsch.
Wow.
Yeah,
Settle down.
Oh, okay. But he's got 3 of those games, and
That's what I noticed.
Yeah, that's
He's got
crazy.
3 games in those
the
2
Mine,
categories.
Q of Q, and what was the other?
Ganshan.
Oh, Ganshan Cleaver. So
Has anyone heard of that guy?
Yeah, he does a lot of roll and rides.
But anyways, what's interesting is that Eric Martin had put on BGG some stuff on why certain games were nominated or not nominated. And you start reading in this article that Eric talked about, he has a lot of quotes from these jurors that are on the Spiel jury, and a lot of them were quotes like, "We were annoyed with bad rule books." Like, you could have a good game, but they were so put off by so many bad rule books, whether they be translation errors or one quote from one guy was, we got tired of being beta testers for rule books.
It's interesting.
And didn't want, to know how to play the game on the second printing run. So they were really, they felt like games are trying to meet release dates and just being hastily rushed out. And that we just started knocking games off. Bad rule book, don't care if it's the greatest game in the world, we're not going to consider it.
That's a very touchy subject. A lot of people are complain online about rule books being either good or bad or not enough time being put into them.
We've even had show
but
about
yeah,
it.
but it's also very interesting that it's a criteria for them. Like, I understand that need for it, especially when you're talking about voting on the best games possibly in the world, right? You want them to be approachable to a wide variety of people. And people like us can read a rule book and interpret it one way, but if I gave it to my mom, she probably wouldn't know the first thing about what any of these things mean because they're taken for granted when they're written.
Well,
so I understand that completely.
Especially with the Spiel. I mean, that's always been a big thing for them, especially not the Kenner as much as the main award. It's got to be super approachable.
Sure.
Like the game
It's
itself.
a brand.
Like one of you said, they want you to basically be able to sit down, open the box, and kind of be able to play it practically.
Right. Yeah, because one of the jurors was talking about kind of what you were just saying, as it was hard to sit down with someone who really didn't know isn't much of a gamer.
Yeah.
They don't understand the rules, and the only way they could figure it out is because somebody at the table was a gamer, and just kind of using their gamer intuition, they could figure it out.
I understand that completely.
And
If
I
you
do
go-
too.
If you go to
We've had to
Target
do
and
that
buy
in a few games
Monopoly,
as well.
you can pretty much, no matter who you are, understand what Monopoly is. They want that
Right.
same approach to whatever games they nominate.
But if
for
you look back
these
at some of the
categories.
past winners, I mean, it makes sense. Like Seven Wonders was a winner
Right.
a few years ago, and I mean, that's easily approachable. I mean, that's a gateway game for many people into the hobby.
Well,
So-
obviously, they're also saying that the rule book is well written too.
Well,
is
yeah,
what they're
right.
saying,
That's-
so
Right.
I get
Slight
that.
detour. We also played Seven Wonders. Like, he played it 3 times at CMON Expo,
did,
and I played
yeah.
it once. I forgot how
A
wonderful
long
that
time since I
game
played
is.
that one.
Yeah. The other
Anyway.
interesting part that you had told before we got on camera was that all these games have to be released in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
If they're not
I understand and I don't understand. I mean, they want to be known as the Academy Awards for board games, but also that does kind of segregate the games that could be included in the nomination
Yeah.
list, right? There's a lot of games that may not be released in Germany yet that could be excluded from that
Yeah, they
list.
said if your game is not in Germany, it has a 0% chance of being nominated. Doesn't
Understandable.
matter if
I mean, it's
you're-
their award.
Yeah,
I get that
true.
I mean,
completely.
that's how it started. They've been giving it before
Yeah.
we in the Americas were into
Right.
the enthusiast scene.
Yeah, I think
so-
that's a good question. Is we say that it's like the Academy Awards, but is that what they want, or is this meant to be Germany's thing?
Well-
and everybody else has kind of adopted it because we don't really have.
I
Well,
think
that's why
a
you have a
Gen
lot.
Con
That's why you
award,
have
you
the
know?
BGG awards. That's why you have the Dice Tower awards. That's
Origins
why we give
Award.
awards. I mean, there's a lot of different awards, but no one's really stepped up and said, "We are the Academy Awards
Right.
of board gaming."
Yeah.
So I think everyone kind of assumes that this is the.
That's not a
We'll
bad idea.
create our
on their own.
basically whatever
Yeah, right.
whatever holds that position will always hold that position until it's dethroned, if you will.
Sure.
I think, like you said, do they want that? I think anyone who gives an award wants to be viewed as the best award
Sure.
possible.
Absolutely.
So I don't, even though it started in Germany, I think they're fine with it being regarded
Sure.
by many as the global award.
So what are our predictions? I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I would love to see Gone win. I think the Mind will win.
Really, you think the mine will
I
be the
do.
Zool?
Just because everyone's like going gaga over it.
I think. You have
don't-
anything else? No?
Yeah, I probably don't want to go too deep into that, but I hope that Gone wins.
I think,
Or
and that's the
Guns.
Kenner.
That's
Yes.
a Kenner
It's up for the
spiel.
Kenner.
Yeah.
I think that probably will win the Kenner.
I think so too.
However,
Azul. would
well,
be my pick for
Azul,
the-
like I absolutely want
Yeah,
Azul to
me
win the
too.
Spiel. I would say this though, the Mind, which I haven't played, I've seen it played. I don't know if the Mind yet is a game that will last
at the time.
forever.
Yeah.
Or if it will just be kind of like,
fad.
it's like the hotness and a fad and kind of a game that was clever. Because it kind of rides the line between a game and kind of a activity, maybe.
A little bit. It's much kind of a
Thank you.
social experience.
That's why you didn't
Wow,
want to go deep.
this feels good.
But
You guys heard it right here.
What?
rules?
A what?
The other thing, well, I'm saying that from the perspective of what many
I didn't
people
think I'd
might
ever
think.
hear that out of your
I know.
mouth.
But I'd say this about Azul, which I love, and what you were just saying. There are some elements of Azul that need some explaining. As simple as that game is, for non-gamers, you really have to help them get their mind around how things are scored for sure in that game. The
I
first
think the
time
rule
you
book
play.
is really well written.
I'll say
Well,
this.
it is, but it's still not like there's some thinking that non-gamers have to do the first time they play that in
I'll
terms
say
of
this:
how it
both
scores.
games are very addictive. Like when you get done playing them, you're like,
Yeah.
"Let's play again." They
Yeah.
both have that element to them that
my
make you
fear
wanna.
with the mind is that the more you play it, the easier it gets, especially when you play it with the same
same
group
group.
of people, because it gets to a point where you kind of just like, like
Yeah.
you just, and people have already come out and said like, okay, well, we have to put limits at our table. You can't do this, you can't do that, like, because it just becomes too easy, like,
Yeah.
to wait 2 beats,
It's
play your
less
card,
structured
you know,
than Azul, for sure.
it just becomes like,
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
are your picks?
well, I mean, my personal pick would be Azul for sure. I'd actually love to see Heaven and Ale win the Kenner Spiel. It's Heaven and Ale was one of my favorite games. I mean, that game.
I know
like,
we've heard.
I know you've heard a lot about it.
I love it too.
I think
I
I'm up to
agree.
like almost 40 plays
on
of
all
it
our
now.
top
just
10s
because,
It was.
just because my partner and I will just play it, just the two of us.
40? Did you
We're
say
up to like
40?
because when you play a 2-player version of that game, it's only like 30 minutes.
Wow.
And so we might sit down and play 3 or 4 times in a row. Just
I'd
love it.
like to see that win, but I think Gons will.
I
win
think
that.
Gons will, and I wouldn't
Of
be
course, I know
disappointed with
nothing
that.
about that other game. So
Luxor? Yeah, I don't think any of us have
No,
played
no,
Luxor.
the other Kenner
De
one.
Quicksilver, De Quedlinburg.
I just wanted to make
Von
him say it again.
Quedlinburg, yeah.
Ah.
Cute, cute.
And that's unfortunate. But I think that's the way it goes for us too. We can't play everything, and those are 2 games
Right.
that we haven't played yet.
Well, and
Well,
that
we haven't
game is
played Luxor.
only out
Yeah,
in
Luxor.
Germany right now, and
Yeah.
That's true.
like
4
nobody's
of
even
the 6
talking
are
about.
only in
Oh, believe
Germany.
me, it'll be out here eventually now that
Sure.
it's nominated.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
that's a good measure too of like when people are looking at what games they should bring over.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Renegade picked up Raiders right
Shortly
around the
after.
same time that it got nominated last year.
I think Azul will win. I don't think they're going to give it to the Mind.
Really?
I don't think the Mind. I haven't played it. I've watched it played. I don't know. It doesn't break new ground.
Well-
it's just there's other games like, okay, I see
Well-
what you're saying there.
Playing it, it's a totally different thing. Once you actually start
True.
playing it, you're like,
I
Whoa,
think
this is, like,
I
crazy.
think
Right.
based on what we were talking about with the Spiel earlier, I think the fact that it is just a deck of cards 1 to 100,
Right.
yet they were able to do something so unique and different with it, I think they will reward that achievement and potentially give it the win. But I really want
Interesting.
Azul to win.
If-
I don't think so, but I could be
if
wrong.
the
I
Mind
think
and
Azul.
Guns both win, is that the first time one person's won both awards?
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
that would be
That would
interesting.
be
know.
interesting.
And I think, well, I would like to see Heaven and Ale win. I think they'll give it to Ganshan Cleaver, just for the fact that it's a really good roll and write, and that's just we're gonna make a roll and write the game of the year.
Has a roll and write been? Does anyone know?
Look, the last
No,
few.
I mean, Knott's Ball was the big one last year.
Sisters won the last couple, and I forgot what won last year for the Kinderspiel.
Wasn't it Exit? Or
Yeah.
was that
Oh
the-
yeah,
No, Exit won one last.
Yeah.
Won one of them last
I
year.
thought it
Had to
was
have been
the-
Kenner. Had to
Yeah.
have been Kenner.
but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Spiel give it to Ganshan Cleaver, saying, "Yeah, we are accepting these.
Validate
games. We are
roll and rights."
validating roll and rights because this is good and it's
I could see that.
Yeah.
They kind of validated the whole escape room thing last year.
right." And that's why I don't think they'll give it to Exit. They'll give it to Azul. I don't think they're gonna give 2 games like that.
Yeah.
That's just my own personal opinion. I'm trying to think like them.
I think so.
I'm trying to get in their mind.
So those are our expectations, our predictions, if you will, for the Spiel. If you have any predictions, fight about them down below in the comments. Keep it respectful, please. All of our comments you'll find are very respectful on all of our videos. Thanks for watching Chit Chat, and as always, check us out on Facebook and like us and follow us and all that on social media, and we will check you out next time. Well, that's another episode of Chit Chat in the bag. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out another one, there's probably one right over here in the bottom left-hand corner, or probably your right-hand corner. whatever corner, we have something to click on. So click on one of these things and good things will happen.